Hello, Baker. It is your mayor. Hope all is well. Hope you had a great month. And I hope everything is going well for you and your family. I have a great show planned for you tonight. We're going to talk a lot about broadband. We are going to explain to you what broadband is all about. I'm in the learning process when it comes to this also, but this is important for the future of our kids. It's important for education and in the schools. So I brought the best person to explain that and to talk to you about it tonight. Good friend of mine has been around for a long, long time, Mr. Beneath Iyengar, and he works for the Office of Broadband and Connectivity. How you doing this evening?
Good. Always good to see you, Mayor.
Always good to see
Yeah.
you, and I see that in your new position, you're
Yeah.
doing the same thing that you've always done.
Right.
Try to help people. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and let
Yeah,
our
so-
viewers know who you are.
Yeah, and first of all, really thrilled to be here, Mayor. You've done such a great job over the last couple of years, so I'm always a big fan of you. In fact,
Yes.
you were one of the first mayors outside of Baton Rouge that greeted me and was hospitable enough to
Yes.
spend time. And I remember meeting with you when I first joined in 18, Mayor Broom's office.
Yes.
But yeah, so look, Baton Rouge, Louisiana is always going to be home.
Right.
Wherever I am around the world, wherever I will be, it'll always be home. And my parents moved to Baton Rouge in 1979, 1980. My dad was a professor at computer science at LSU. And we all grew up in Baton Rouge.
Right.
And then proud product of a public elementary, middle, and high school. And then I left in 1997 to go to Purdue University for my undergrad, and then came back here a couple of years ago after 20 years away.
Yeah, you've been really excited about the broadband initiative
Yeah.
that the governor. Tell us a little bit of how that got started.
Yeah, so it was really the vision of Governor Edwards back in 2019, even before the pandemic, before broadband became sort of top of mind for a lot of families. It was top of mind for the governor at that point. He recognized in 2019 that there was a huge digital divide that existed throughout the state. And what I mean by digital divide are those folks that really lack the kind of broadband access that's really needed to help drive our economy. And so in 2019, and I think in August, he, through an executive order, created actually a commission called
Right.
the Broadband for Everyone in Louisiana Commission, made up of folks from municipalities. It included a number of secretaries. It included people from the academic world, nonprofit world, the industry, and it was really focused on piecing together the vision and solutions around addressing the broadband digital divide. Now, pandemic happened.
Right.
So, everyone shifted to go home, and either whether it was a mom doing a telehealth visit, whether it was
Yes.
a kid doing a virtual visit, whether it was dad paying his bills online, everything shifted, right?
Right.
Everything shifted, even government.
Even
right?
government.
And our ability to function shifted
right.
and relied on broadband.
It became important. It
became
really
important.
became important,
Yeah.
and so we knew that then, and all of the things that we use to communicate changed. Zoom, everything became important to get the word out
Right.
about that. So look, let's talk a little bit about, and that means that the governor was ahead of his time. He had the vision for it, but let's talk a little bit of what is broadband.
So broadband is just another term for high-speed internet.
Right.
Some people will think broadband is fiber to the home.
Right.
Fiber optics. Some people think broadband is satellite technology.
Right.
Some people think broadband is copper or fixed wireless.
Right.
At the end of the day, broadband is really, it just means high-speed internet.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
And so the reason it's called broadband is because there are different definitions of what high-speed internet is,
Right.
and how it could be delivered.
Okay.
And it can be delivered via satellite or fiber or other.
And so that's interesting. So why is it so important? And we talked about some of the reasons why because of the pandemic. Why is it important besides the pandemic to have that?
Yeah, so I think similarly, it's the number one economic development issue in the state.
Right.
I think largely, especially in rural parishes and rural areas, even in areas that are urban areas,
Right.
there are large areas that are unserved where we rely on our phones,
Right.
we rely on the internet to function in our daily lives.
Connectivity.
Connectivity. In fact, I mean, you take the phone away from your kids.
That's right.
For not just a day, but hours.
Right.
And you'll see what happens when when they struggle with that.
Well, you take that phone away from me now, and
Yeah,
and
man,
we're gonna have an issue here. So
Right.
the connectivity is important to drive economic development and community development. It is the way that we communicate a lot now. So look, we're gonna come back. When I come back, I want to talk to you about speed testing. About a little bit about that initiative that's going on here, and I guess we can go into a little bit of that right now. Talk a little bit about it, and then we'll finish up after commercial. But tell us a little bit about the speed testing program now.
Yeah. So let me start at a very high level. So the digital divide in Louisiana is big.
Right.
We've got over 1.6 million Louisianians in the state that are struggling with even having access to high-speed internet because either they don't have a device, they can't afford it, or they lack the digital literacy to understand what to do with it, even if they have it. Now, that throttles our ability to be competitive as an economy and to re-attract and recruit people to come back to Louisiana,
right?
Young people. And the speed test is going to be really important, and really greatly appreciate our partnership, Mayor, because you guys have been really forward-leaning. I mean, you're Baker forward, right?
That's right.
You guys have been really forward-leaning and helping to really push out that speed test. What we need to understand through that speed test, and you can find it on your website, is we need to understand what speeds people are having when it comes to broadband speeds at the home.
Okay.
It's a 1 to 2 minute survey. It's very quick and easy to use.
Right.
You could do it as many different times as possible. I would suggest to a household that they do a speed test at 9 a.m., then at 12 p.m., and then at 6 p.m. And it's going to allow us to understand where those areas are considered unserved.
So what we're going to do when we come back, we're going to talk about, so now we do the speed test. We take the information, we get the results.
Yeah.
I'm interested to know what are you going to do with those results and who you're going to take them to.
Yeah.
So you guys, look, we want you to go to www.cityofbakerla.com. That speed test is on there. We're going to put a slide up when we come back so you'll be able to write that down. That's really important with us making the move that we're trying to do with this to help this initiative. As you guys know, I'm really aggressive with things that I think that's going to move us forward. And I've always talked from a regional standpoint when I talk about Baker and North Baton Rouge. So make sure that you write some of this stuff down, and you can always go to the website. We'll be right back. I need to pay a couple of bills. Man, we got the rest of the show. It's going to be really, really interesting. So come right back. We'll see you in a minute.
Are you looking to build or purchase a home? You need to take a hard look at Baker. Small town atmosphere that's good for families. Baker has everything you need. Shops, doctors, hospitals. It's near the airport and a stone's throw from downtown Baton Rouge. No traffic hassles and lots of community activities to be involved in. Ranked as one of the safest cities in Louisiana, Baker and families are moving forward together. If you own or are planning to start a business, you need to take a hard look at Baker. Your one-stop shop for business, city licensing, services, and sensible tax rates. With low crime, it's a stone's throw from downtown Baton Rouge, the airport, and it's on the river with railways. Baker is not landlocked. Plank Road presents the traffic businesses need, and Main Street offers a hometown atmosphere. Baker and business are moving forward together.
Welcome back, Baker, and we are talking about broadband and the importance of it and why it's going to be important in the future. And we're going to continue this conversation. And we were talking about earlier about the speed test. What is done with the information from the speed test?
Yeah, and Mayor, before I talk about the information, what we're going to do with the speed test, let me explain why it's important.
Right.
So you know, before, and it's just like the New Mississippi, well, they call it the New Mississippi River Bridge, but
Right.
it's the Mississippi River Bridge. You know, that bridge was designed for a number of cars when
Right.
it was built years and years and years and years ago.
Right.
Now you've got significantly more cars going over that bridge.
Right.
And then there's a bottleneck.
Yeah.
So, you know, the folks in Washington, D.C., the Federal Communications Commission, they set the speeds that they consider is high-speed broadband.
Right.
And the speeds that's official broadband speeds, based on the FCC, is 25 Mbps download and 3 Mbps upload. And for your viewers, don't worry about the Mbps, it's more of a technical. You're going to probably hear 25.3, so we'll keep it at 25.3.
Okay.
Before the pandemic, 25.3 was probably okay for a family of 4. When everyone shifted, just like the bridge,
Right.
everyone's now going on the bridge,
Right.
there's traffic jams.
That's right.
Similarly, those 25.3 speeds are probably not adequate enough. And so the FCC is looking at potentially redefining what high-speed broadband is, and they're looking at potentially 100 Mbps download and 20 upload. And what that does is it helps to future-proof broadband between now and into the future.
So
And
that's why the speed test is important.
And that's why, Mayor, and to your viewers, it's critical that you fill out the speed test, because we need to understand what speeds you're getting. You may be getting 25.3 speeds, or that's what maybe you're paying for. But when you do the speed test, and depending on the day, you may not be getting those speeds.
That's right. That's
right?
right.
You may be getting something lower. And so the more we understand what speeds your viewers are getting,
Right.
and at what times, the better it's going to allow us through our efforts to really be very prescriptive in providing solutions to addressing those speeds, because what we need to do is plan for the future.
You know, it's interesting that you talk about how important those speeds are. You know, I'm retired military.
Right.
A lot of my friends live in the D.C. area.
Right.
They work at the Pentagon, State Department, but they're working from home.
Right.
And they talk about the number of people that work in their areas are in the thousands.
Right.
So now we have on any one day, just in the D.C. area alone, where we have approximately probably 1,000 people that are online and working, and they're doing important jobs.
Right.
And so to get this, to be able to go back to the FCC and say, hey, look, we need to either upgrade the speeds and make it better. And so you're talking about upgrading the system. You're talking about finding out areas that don't have it.
Right.
I mean, it's a lot.
So we're talking about, Mayor, this being a really, when I mention economic development, this is
Right.
going to be really large investments being placed in communities throughout the state to incentivize the private sector to invest and upgrade.
And upgrade.
And you know, it's interesting. We talk about the FCC. Last week, the governor convened a meeting of his Broadband for Everyone Louisiana Commission, and we had the FCC chairwoman, the interim chairwoman, actually come and speak to the group.
Wow.
And we had, under the governor's leadership, we talked to her and we said, we're already planning in advance. We're already looking at increasing speeds already
Right.
and redefining in Louisiana what those high-speed broadband definitions are. More than just 25.3, and she was very thrilled to see that we're sort of moving faster than DC in terms of how we're redefining speed, but also in terms of how we're attracting the kinds of investments that we need to help solve this digital divide.
It's going to change the game. It's going to change
Yeah.
the game. So what if someone doesn't have access to broadband right now?
Yeah.
No broadband at all. How could they get that? How can
Yeah, so-
get access?
So I think fortunately in Baker, you have a couple of different providers, right?
Right.
Now, there's still pockets probably in Baker where people don't have necessarily access to broadband, largely because it's an affordability issue.
Right.
And so the FCC launched on May 12th, and we've partnered with all sorts of groups, including the City of Baker, right? To really push out, and you guys have done a great job
Right.
in really
Appreciate
pushing out information around the FCC's Emergency Broadband Benefit Program.
Right.
It's a temporary broadband relief program that provides vouchers, I think $50, $75 based on certain eligible criteria, to families who can't afford it, right? and allows them to get an alleviation of their bill. We in Louisiana, based on data that I got 2 days ago, we've had over 81,000 Louisianians throughout the entire state in all areas, and I think in all parishes, that have received relief for that program.
Really?
So it's a big deal, right? And
Right.
so we want to continue to work with you, Mayor, to really push this program out.
Right.
There's still a lot of room for growth. There's still money available
Right.
from the Emergency Broadband Benefit Program to address that, right?
That's a good deal. I like that affordability for something that we really, really need. It takes regular people and gives them an opportunity to be a part of what's going on.
Right.
I've always thought that, we've had that issue. There's always been a disparity with that. How is this going to affect our schools, education?
That's a great question. When everyone moved to virtual learning, the challenge that the school superintendents were having throughout the state, that State Superintendent Brumley was having, that everyone was having, parents,
Right.
teachers, was not only an affordability issue, but also an access issue, but also a device issue.
Right.
And I think the Department of Education and under the direction of Superintendent Brumley and working with all the folks throughout the state, and the BESI board members have done a great job in really making sure that a lot of the schools have fiber going to them.
That's right.
One. The second is they've done a great job in making sure that a lot of the kids have access to the devices needed
That's right.
to addressing some of their challenges.
That's
So really kudos and hats off. Now, I got to really really tip of the hat to everyone in the state, because you got to realize January, February of last year, which wasn't too far ago, right, of 2020,
Right.
we had, everyone's best laid plans to do the best that they can throughout that year.
Right.
And then the pandemic hit.
That's it.
And then suddenly, everyone had to be an entrepreneur. Everyone had to be creative. Everyone had to jerry-rig solutions. Everyone had to scramble. And I'll tell you, Louisiana, when I talk to a lot of my peer states,
Right.
and I talk to them regularly, the folks that are heading broadband efforts in North Carolina, Virginia,
Right.
Texas, other states, the speed at which we're moving to addressing some of our broadband challenges is pretty remarkable, right?
Well,
And that only works, Mayor, when we have aligned leadership
that's right.
from the governor's office to our office, to the mayors, to the parish presidents, to the people, to the communities, towns, villages, across the board.
That's it. We're gonna, when we come back, and I want to speak to that. We're gonna recap about the website, and then we're gonna close out. You guys, this has been very, very interesting. I hope that you go to the website to make sure that you get the information. Stick around. We'll be right back. Let me pay a couple of bills.
Are you looking to build or purchase a home? You need to take a hard look at Baker. Small town atmosphere that's good for families. Baker has everything you need. Shops, doctors, hospitals. It's near the airport and a stone's throw from downtown Baton Rouge. No traffic hassles and lots of community activities to be involved in. Ranked as one of the safest cities in Louisiana, Baker and families are moving forward together. If you own or are planning to start a business, you need to take a hard look at Baker. Your one-stop shop for business, city licensing, services, and sensible tax rates. With low crime, it's a stone's throw from downtown Baton Rouge, the airport, and it's on the river with railways. Baker is not landlocked. Plank Road presents the traffic businesses need, and Main Street offers a hometown atmosphere. Baker and business are moving forward together.
Welcome back, Baker. As we continue our conversation on broadband, I hope you guys are enjoying this as much as I am. I'm going to take some notes after this because I really am getting excited about the information that we're getting. And just to recap, if we can, I just want to thank you for being here. I really appreciate you taking the time out. But we want to talk about what if you don't have that access to broadband, and what can we do to make it available?
Yeah, so great question, Mayor. So from an access perspective, if there are families that don't have any broadband services at home, AT&T and Cox, which I think are your largest providers locally here, they actually have low-cost plans.
Okay.
And those low-cost plans start, I think, at $10 a month,
Right.
or something that's somewhat manageable. But they do have low-cost plans, and you'll start to get up to speed with the kind of broadband needs that your family can have. And then from there, you can, based on the family requirements, if you need to pay for a little bit more, then you can. But
Okay.
so both do have it.
Right.
The second is, again, there are, and it's mind-boggling, Mayor, there are 26 different federal programs focused on broadband,
Wow.
whether it's access, whether it's affordability, or whether it's digital literacy.
Right.
And so we're going to come up with some rules and sort of guidelines and suggestions, really less rules, but guidelines and suggestions for mayors and for parish presidents and for community leaders to understand what they could do with some of their money that they're getting from the federal government to addressing really the affordability issue.
Right.
And so those are the two, really access, AT&T, I would reach out to AT&T and Cox and then have a conversation with them.
So with some of these funding is coming from the federal funds, and we could take that, just really quick, tell us, what are some of the things that us leaders could do, we could use that money for to help our citizens?
Yeah, so to your viewers, the state's getting from the America Rescue Plan that President Biden signed in March. The state's getting a good chunk of money, and then the parishes, towns, and villages are getting money.
Right.
And so in the rules and guidance from the federal government, from Treasury, you, Mayor, can spend some of this money on water, or sewer, really infrastructure, or broadband.
Broadband.
And within broadband, you can spend it on infrastructure or digital literacy.
That's right.
Or affordability. So some mayors that I've spoken to and some parish presidents I've spoken to throughout the state have said, you know what, our biggest problem is that affordability is an issue.
That's right.
And so we may want to look at creating an affordability program given some of our American Rescue Plan money.
That's right.
Some of the parish presidents and mayors have said, well, access and affordability may be less of an issue. Our issue is that we have an aging population in our parish, and digital literacy is a problem.
Let's talk about that real quick.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the plan for that. You mentioned that, we just libraries and places where we can bring people so they can learn more about it and how to use it.
So the state of Louisiana, the challenge when it comes to digital literacy is, again, families and older adults, they're used to, going to the doctor. Right? Or, mailing their bills online, rather than paying online, right? My parents, they like to do things in the more traditional way, which works for them and works for a lot of people.
Right.
So in Louisiana, the challenge though that we have is that we have 744,000 adults that lack the digital skills to understand how to utilize broadband.
Right.
We're working on programs and plans with the community colleges and with LSU and with Southern to addressing that knowledge gap.
Okay.
That, Mayor, you can work on very locally,
Right.
whether it's with the Council on Aging,
Right.
or whether it's with your local school library system, to come up with really quick digital literacy programs where you bring in adults and you're not teaching them computer programming. We're not doing that.
Right.
But we're teaching them basics. How do you start a telehealth visit?
Right.
Basic things.
Yes.
If your modem gets switched off, where do you go and plug it in?
Right.
How do you reset your computer? So basic literacy, which I think could be taught over several hours as opposed to several days. And so that's something that I think would be really interesting here for the people of Baker.
I think that is good. You've given me some ideas on that, and I appreciate you. Now, I know that I can always reach out to you and give our viewers a contact number or a website that they can go to where you are.
Yeah, so they could go always to DOA, www.doa.la.gov.
Right.
And when you go to the homepage, and our office technically sits in the Division of Administration.
Okay.
I report to the Commissioner, Jay Darden,
Okay.
who's doing a fantastic job and
Yes,
has
he
been a great mentor of mine over the last couple of months.
Right.
Has taught me a lot about
Right.
state and local level, and he was a city councilman in Baton Rouge for a long time.
Yes, he was.
I think served with Mayor Broom.
He did.
And so, so I report to Jay, but the issues of broadband is very visible, and it's very visible at the governor's level and with the governor himself.
Okay.
And so we're going to start to provide information on our efforts and our programs, news. And so if you go to the doa.la.gov, if you scroll to the left side of the page, there's a area focused on broadband development, connectivity, and that's where we're based.
Well, thank you. I
Thank you, sir.
appreciate you for
As
being
always,
here.
yeah.
And you've been a real professional about everything. Ladies and gentlemen, look, here's what we got to do. Go and take the speed test, okay? I'm asking you, take the speed test so we can move this initiative forward as we continue to move Baker forward. And like I always do when I talk to you, that you do not have to live in Baker in order to be involved in any of this, because I'm sure that the leadership in Baton Rouge is a part of this. So if you can't find it there, you can always come here and get it. And we really need to take advantage of this as we move forward. You guys, I've always enjoyed bringing the experts to talk to you about things that's important to me that I know that will help me serve you better. And so we will continue to do that, but we want you guys to pay attention to what's going on in the world, and remember that COVID is still here. You still need to protect yourself and protect your family. If you have not been vaccinated, please go do so. Make a decision with you and your family to go get it done. We have so many opportunities to get that done. And we want you to stay connected. It is hurricane season. Remember to text LA Baker updates to 468-311. 468-311. Make sure that Mama and Papa has this on their phone. So when we put out things that rapidly changes, such as flooding and flash flooding, and things are happening, that you can get it right away, and make sure that you can keep your family safe. You guys remember that we're going to continue to make Baker stronger, and the only way that we can stay stronger if we stay together, and unity is always the key as we continue to move Baker forward. I love you all. Y'all have a great evening, and I will see you on the next time. I'm Mayor Wicks, and I'm out. Have a good one.